Hi, I'm Aaron Harber. The goal of my show is to inform viewers about a diverse range of topics, from our country's leadership to economic and tax policies to energy and environmental issues, with the participation of the most significant stakeholders in each arena. Our long-form approach gives each guest the time to fully speak his or her mind and gives the audience all the facts, allowing everyone to draw their own conclusions.
Thank God you do your homework, and just doing what you do is enough to begin to let them know what's happening.
I strive to bring together guests with perspectives from across the entire political spectrum to promote problem resolution through civil discourse.
Keith Olbermann and Glenn Beck and Rush Babe, frightening people and using emotion, fear, guilt, and racism. What a bunch, from the right and the left.
I've personally experienced our democratic system from the inside, and I use my knowledge and expertise on the show to get clarification of major points and expand the discussion to ensure my audience gets the uncut truth.
What is this bigotry against a third-party candidate? Do the two parties own all the voters and everyone else should shut up and stand in line?
We were on the campus together at Princeton University. Her Majesty does not look any different than she did in those days, and I wish I could say the same about myself.
I'm an ardent supporter of transparency in government and strive to play an active role in bringing out all the facts related to our nation's most challenging issues.
One of the things I've learned in life, and you certainly have learned from doing your show, is you got smart people, but they're torn apart, they're polarized. You get into a media environment where it's not things like your show, but the shout shows on talk radio or cable TV, in which there's just this tendency to score political points and be polarized.
Since my days in national talk radio, I've upheld a tradition of being truly nonpartisan, something which seems rare on the airwaves today.
Depending on your point of view, a decision of the Supreme Court might be the wrong one.
I've also found my guests talk to others involved in our nation's leadership, and they have encouraged them to come on the program as well.
We are not final because we're infallible. We are infallible because we're final. Now, no one knows what that means.
But it sounds good.
No, but what it means is we do not have the last word because we are so brilliant. We are, of course, brilliant, but only in the sense that somebody has to have the last word.
It's the focus on issues rather than personal attacks that makes guests comfortable and gives them the chance to tell their entire story. I simply let guests explain their perspective completely, then dig deeper for the audience by drawing from my own knowledge and experience.
Democracy succeeds when you're giving more and more things to people, but the years ahead, we're going to have to ask more of them in taxes and expect less from government.
There doesn't seem to be anyone in either party that has any kind of appetite for asking more of people tax-wise. Am I wrong about that?
No, you're probably right, and that's a flaw in democracy.
Thanks for taking the time to check out the show. I hope this has been helpful in illustrating the nation's need for a balanced, nonpartisan program to shed light on today's issues. For more information, please go to www.harbertv.com or email producer@harbertv.com. And thanks for watching. In this special episode of the Aaron Harber Show, Your Decision 2016, you will get to hear firsthand the answers that Mr. Donald Trump has about the media's coverage of his race for the presidency and his plan for his first 100 days in office if elected.
All right, so, I want to talk policy, and when you get to the White House, what are the top 3 issues? What are the top 3 policies you would like to see implemented in your first 100 days?
Well, we have to repeal and replace Obamacare. It's a disaster. We have to take care of our vets. We have to take care of our military, which is totally depleted. We also, we can continue on for about 2 hours. We also have to do the borders. The borders are absolutely, as you know, they're like porous. Water could come pouring through, and we have people and we have drugs pouring into the borders, and we have to stop that, and many other things. There are just so many different things, but I would really say military, vets, and Obamacare we have to terminate. Also, Second Amendment, we have to preserve Second Amendment Supreme Court judges.
In terms of those kind of policies, how do you think you can bring Democrats and Republicans together to actually get those implemented, given how really polarized the country is?
Yeah, it's such a great question. The country is polarized, and You know, if you listen to President Obama, he tries to make it like everything's wonderful and peachy-dory, and it's not. We have a very divided country. There's tremendous hatred between Republicans and Democrats like I've never seen before. I've been in politics for a long time. I have never seen the animosity between the two parties like it is right now. We're going to get them into big rooms, and we're going to get along with them, and we're going to try and sign very few executive orders. Right now, everything's done by executive order because nobody can get anybody to do anything, and we're going to get them along. I really believe you can. It used to work. It worked under Ronald Reagan with Tip O'Neill, and it can work again.
What has surprised you most about the campaign? I mean, you started the campaign last year. You've been campaigning now for a year and a half. When you look back, and including current events, what has taken you most by surprise?
I think the dishonesty of the media. Not you, by the way, but the dishonesty of the media. It's unbelievable. They'll say things that are so wrong and knowingly wrong. And I've always known this. You know, if you're a Republican, if you're a conservative, it would be that way. I had no idea to the extent they're willing to deceive and lie. And yeah, I would say probably number one, the dishonesty of the media. I will also say this, the greatness of the people of this country. You see outside with this massive crowd, we have a tremendous crowd of people everywhere, no matter where we go. These are unbelievable people, the greatness of the people of this country. We're going to bring our jobs back. We're going to bring business back. We're going to bring sanity back to this country because we're going in such a wrong direction.
Let's talk a little bit about the media. I mean, one of the things you've done, certainly when you look at the primary part of your campaign, you got great media coverage. I mean, you got more attention in the media than probably all the other candidates combined. They all complained about it. As you remember, they complained about it. You did a great job. It was very effective, helped you win the nomination. Coming out of that, you continued to do well. Obviously, in recent weeks, it's changed in the coverage. I think if you're objective as a journalist, there's no question that different media entities, whether organized or not, are piling on. What happened? What changed, number one, and can you reel them back in? How do you get back?
Well, I can have the people back. I don't think I can get the media back in. I noticed that when I started going ahead in the polls, ahead of, as I say, crooked Hillary, because she is totally crooked, when I started going ahead in the polls, they got very, very nervous. They said, wait a minute, what's going on over here? And I wouldn't say they were good to me at all during the primaries, but I did get a lot of coverage more, and I guess that has to do with ratings too. But I still get much more coverage than Hillary. She's in her house all the time. She doesn't even campaign. I mean, she's building up her strength. But the truth is, I get a lot of coverage. And I guess I always have gotten a lot of coverage, but now the coverage has become vicious. And I think it really started when I started inching ahead in the polls.
And how do you bring that back, or are you just not going to?
I'm not going to. I'm going to just keep talking to the people. Look at the crowds we have today, and folks like you, and there are some that are great. I don't mean, when I say media, I'm talking about probably 75% of it. There's 25% that's great. But it's really vicious, and it's lies and everything else. So I think that really, I'm not looking to do that because I don't think it can be done. I think, you know, they're dishonest people. They're really dishonest people. But what we will be doing is talking to these massive crowds. We have another crowd later on, 12,000. We have a 25,000 person crowd. So, I mean, there's never been anything like this in terms of a movement, as you understand. They talk about, even the people in the media that dislike Donald Trump, they said, we've never seen anything. But since I started going ahead in the polls, they've become crazed.
Okay, looking at that as a difference, I mean, one of the things I think a lot of people have looked at you as is an agent of change. Talk a little bit about that, how you think you're different, what you bring to the table.
Well, I think we are an agent of change. We're going to make things, and I mean change for the better, not change, just change for the better. To me, it's a much better expression. And we're going to lower taxes. We're going to get rid of regulations. I mean, unnecessary. We need some for the environment and some for safety, but we're going to get rid of a lot of the regulations which are killing our businesses. We're going to do things like save the Second Amendment as opposed to virtually terminate the Second Amendment, which is so important. We're going to have many things change. We're going to have a strong military. Right now we have a very depleted military. We have the greatest people, but the equipment and everything else, our military, and you see what's happening. The number of ships that we have is at an all-time low from almost the beginning. The number of people we have in the military, you know, the whole thing. And we desperately need a strong military right now. So we will be changed. We're going to be changed at the border. We're going to have strong borders, and people can come in, but they have to come in through a legal process. They have to come in legally.
All right. Thank you so much, Donald.
Thank you. Thank you. You are a gentleman.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
The Rex Howell Broadcaster of the Year Award recognizes an individual who, through leadership, skill, and dedication, is advancing the broadcast industry in our state and our nation. Tonight, we honor Aaron Harber. Aaron has worked extensively in the media as a host, producer, political and economic commentator, and columnist. Today, the Aaron Harber Show is the focus of his media involvement. Aaron, it is a privilege to present you with the Rex Howell Broadcaster of the Year Award. Congratulations.
Just make journalism great again.